And here we go. We're starting with this one here.
A bit rusty now.
Yeah, we're a little bit rusty. Now, we mustn't forget our timer, and then... Okay, 3, 2, 1... Hey, we're back again!
After a short delay, we are back.
Thanks for that entrance there, Bill Brennan. I gotta love it. Okay, lash it to them, Dennis.
All right. Good evening and happy Thursday. Welcome to Thursday Comics. I'm your co-host, Dennis Osbourne, accompanied by always with...
That troublemaker, Wallace Ryan.
There you go. Back after about a week delay because of COVID
related
things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's really screwing with schedules, everything like that, right? But I'm glad to be back. I as you say, feeling a little bit rusty, but ready to go at it, right?
Yeah. We didn't really have a topic theme today. We're just going to talk about a couple little brief things that came up.
Yeah.
Over the last week or so. We're going to talk about DC being pricks.
Yes.
So we're just
bastards.
Straight up being pricks. Some good news on the comic front, starting May 20th. 21st for Newfoundland, maybe. Because Monday's a holiday, so I don't know if that'll delay it.
Jeez, you're right.
Probably will be delayed another week, maybe.
Friday anyway, right?
And
we just can't win.
A brief discussion on diversity in comics.
Yeah.
And
how not to do it.
And how not to do it. Which is a thing that's blown up on YouTube, which I showed you during our last recording.
Yeah.
And you were in the knots laughing at it.
Oh, the comments, this was the new Warriors video.
Yeah.
The comments were absolutely hilarious. I'd never seen a feeding frenzy like that since Jaws, right? It was just, or Sharknado, right? It was just like, wow. Talk about, this is like The Walking Dead, right?
Yeah. But we'll get right into it. We'll start off with DC.
Oh yeah, those bastards, yes.
So they're, like I said, they started their own alternate shipping method and stuff like this. Now, most comic shops...
And their own distributor.
Most comic shops didn't abide to it, but a couple did.
Yeah. And for those who did, we're very, very disappointed in you, right? Thanks for supporting the rest of the industry, you bastards, right?
But you mentioned something earlier before we started this, that they halted the early distribution.
Yeah, for comic book shops.
Yeah.
DC Comics now they're gonna start to put them in bookstores and all that. Same time as they put them in comic book stores, and it's just like, oh, what a great way to reward the retailers who've been with you for 30-something or plus years, selling your product for you, when bookstores didn't give a fuck about comics.
No.
Right? I mean, I don't need to tell you about what it was like trying to buy comics in bookstores. It was disgusting.
They're all
right?
dog-eared, and like when you go through a spinner rack, they go up to down. They're all bent in that same spine crack.
Yeah.
The same spot, because people just flick through.
It was like a torture rack for comics, right? And not only that, of course, being a bookstore, they didn't know what the hell they were ordering anyway. No. So the selection would always suck, right?
You go to chapters or anything like this, you go through the graphic novel section. One, all the graphic novels are beat to shit.
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah.
If it has a dust jacket, it don't know more.
No. And if it does have a dust jacket, it's torn on the binding, and it's torn and dog-eared. It's just torn to crap. And they're like, it's like whoever was doing their ordering looked at a list of top selling graphic novels and just picked out Batman, all the top ones. There's no great variety at all. No. It's just like, if you want good graphic novels, you got to go to a comic book store.
You do.
Right? That's like down at Downtown Comics. He even let me curate a shelf. I have a shelf there, my own shelf, that I could curate the best in graphic novels.
Right.
And it was great because we'd sell a lot from that shelf too, because I just put nothing but the best of the best there, right?
And you need that, and you know your clientele.
Yes.
Jason knows what to and what not to order.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, if this random Marvel miniseries that lasted 6 issues and then was canceled, is put out in a paperback, I ain't gonna order it.
No, because
it's not good enough to last 6 issues. no one's going to look for it.
No, and especially if, as the issues, which he notices sometimes, you sell a lot of course, any first issue.
Yeah.
Then there's the dreaded second issue, and then next thing they just dribble off to like, I ordered 3 comics and the 3 are still on the shelf.
Yeah.
And exactly, they're comic book series that should never have been given the book treatment.
Right.
Right? And DC and Marvel are both guilty of that.
Oh my god, yeah. They flood the bookshelves.
Yeah.
They want a bigger market share and a bigger share of the bookcase. So they just order that everything gets published as a paperback.
Yeah, but now I'd say you're seeing more and more people like Jason starting to say, "Shag you, I'm only going to get the best of the best."
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're just going to. He's even said to myself. He said, "Otherwise they're just going to sit there on my shelf and do nothing." It's and in a way it's almost insulting to the reader. Right. It's just like, here, we know you hated the series, so here's a collection, right?
And I mean, if someone comes in and they're like, "Oh, do you have the Solo series that came out?" I'm like, that shitty one that was canceled? Yeah. Well, no, but if you want it, I can get it for you in a week or 2.
Yeah.
Like, how bad you're willing to read a shitty canceled series?
Yeah. I as a matter of fact, not even if it was a really bad series, because I'm not like some comic book stores we know, which will badmouth everything someone buys as they're getting it checked out. To me, if someone likes a series, they like a series.
Yeah.
But if you get a series that everyone fucking hates, then what's the use of carrying it, right?
Yeah.
It's as Jason says, this is just going to end up in my basement.
It is.
Right? Basement.
Yep.
We'll call them basement books. There you go. These basement books. Stop giving us, the bottom of the barrel basement books.
And they're not even worthy of the discount bin.
No.
Because you can still potentially sell something from the discount bin.
Yeah, it's the trade paperback equivalent of the X-Force Omnibus, the first one.
Right.
The Liefeld stuff. It's just like, why the heck was that even ever put out? Right? It was. Now, that being said, it's a good one to have in a library as an example of some bad comics.
The only thing I'm worried about with that one now, I own the X-Force one, but I buy all the X-Men ones.
Yeah.
They're releasing the New Mutants. It's going to get to the point, are they going to release New Mutants up to number 100? Or are they going to stop at when Liefeld started, and then it's continued in the X-Force and reprint the X-Force?
Yeah,
So you can get New Mutants 1, 2, and 3, but New Mutants Volume 4 is technically X-Force Volume 1.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake, so I'm going to buy it.
I don't like the way this is going at all, right? But
in order to get those last few issues of New Mutants, you got to get the first 20 issues of X-Force.
Yeah. Well, yeah, DC's just, they're totally mismanaging this whole COVID thing, I think. I'll give Marvel their due in that they didn't try to set up their own distributor, because the people at Disney probably sat down and said, will we set up our own distributor? And someone said, what are you, out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
Let's take a break. No, everyone seems to be doing fine. There's no one holding hostages at comic book stores looking for things or threatening people because they're wearing a mask in a comic book shop and not buying their product or whatever. But it's be patient. And I mean, sure, it was 6 weeks now, I think. This is week 6, I think it is, without comics. And we've all done, all of us, especially, big time collectors, we've done good enough with our curbside stuff or reading our back issues and that.
And everybody, if you have any collection, no one has read 100% of their collection.
No. If you
no
do,
one has.
If you do, then I don't believe you.
You either got a very, very small collection or way too much time
on your hands. Yes, exactly, yeah.
Because most of us have read a fraction of it.
Yeah.
You maybe started this one, or I'll get this one when part 2 comes out and I can read it all. But no one's read everything.
Yeah. And what's wrong with DC? I mean, they, like I say, they started this whole second distributor thing and all that, and then they turn around and if that wasn't enough of an insult or whatever to the comic book store owners, then they turn around and kick them in the nuts with that taking away their first taste situation. It's just like the that was the one great thing about the comic book stores was we were getting them ahead of everyone else. We used to get them a month ahead of newsstand.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, right?
And even a spot like Amazon, you get books a week, 2 weeks in advance ahead of Amazon and stuff.
Yeah.
Which would be good because if someone really wants that book, that collection, then
you got to go to your local comic book shop.
Go to your local comic shop.
Which I say that on my show a lot of times too, because I've had people say, how'd you get that book? I only got, I'm getting that book in 3 weeks' time, according to my delivery. And I'd say to them, well, that's what happens when you buy from your local comic book store instead of from a heartless multinational corporation like Amazon, right?
And I'm on the weird thing. Amazon can sometimes be cheaper. But you don't know why, and people always complain, oh, Amazon shipping's the worst, my books are damaged. Well, then you gotta wait another week or another 2 weeks.
To get it back again.
I'd rather spend a couple extra bucks, visually inspect the copy.
Exactly.
Buy it.
Yeah.
And then you got it early, you got a great quality, great copy.
And you can bring it back to your house without damaging it, right?
It's not shipping across Canada or the United States in a big empty box with no styrofoam or no
bouncing around. Yeah, tearing the crap out of the dust jacket and denting the corners and shit like that. Yeah, that's true for sure, right? But it's I just don't get it with DC. What is it? Was it something we said? Was it something we did to you guys? And why did you do this when Marvel has obviously held it and waited? And not only that, there's a bigger issue too of you're trying to set up this business in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're getting people out of their houses and stuff like that. It maybe not on a huge, on a nationwide level, but you're everyone else is staying in their house and hunkering down, and you're up there like Doctor Doom or Darkseid planning evil for the industry. It's just like, come on, for God's sake, You know what DC should do is maybe concentrate on doing some good fucking comics for a change, right?
Well, I can see it killing a lot of DC Comics.
Oh yeah. Because if I was a store owner, I would be the one saying, okay, now let's see, I'll give my Batman, my Superman, my Wonder Woman, all your big titles, but all this other crap you got here, screw you, right? You didn't support us. We're not going to support you.
So unless someone wants that copy, it's like, oh, you want Secret 6 or something, or whatever, something like this. Yeah. Well, I'll put that aside for you. I'm getting a shelf copy.
Yeah, the inferior 5. Or something like
something
that. Something inferior, yeah. Exactly. It's just like, if you're going to push us to the wall, we'll get the comic in for you.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, when I have my comic book store, I can remember telling one guy one time about, he'd asked, actually it was for a Marvel UK title. And it was one of the crappier ones. I can't remember which one.
They were all crappy.
Yeah, they were all pretty crappy. And he says, do you have this, your store? I said, nope, I don't carry that. And he says, why don't you carry it? And I said, why, do you want a copy? He said, no, I just wanted to have a look at it. And I said, so you don't want to buy a copy? No. I said, exactly.
Yep.
That's exactly why, because it's a piece of shit. Right? And come on, it's, back in the day, I mean, back in the 70s and the 80s, 70-80% of what DC and Marvel were putting out were pretty good for the most part. And all this other stuff is just like, oh, for God's sake, right? I don't know what it is probably now, maybe 50-50 tops, would you say?
I find it's because of all the big events.
Yeah.
And you're spread so far, like, you used to know every writer, every artist, a lot of times every inker.
Yes.
There was only a handful floating around, and they swapped companies, they went back and forth, and it was a big deal if, hey, John Buscema is leaving this title, he's going to this one.
Exactly, yeah.
Or the X-Men rosters are changing, so we're going to swap the artists, or something like this. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue who half the artists are anymore.
No.
Or the writers.
Yeah, and not only that, it's just like and we'll get into this with the new Warriors, whatever. But I mean, I don't know where they're getting some of these people who are just writing like absolute garbage comics. It's just like, there's still a lot of people out there like Don McGregor, there are a lot of really good writers out there who you could actually, let alone even newer writers, who go out there and get your Hickmans, go out there and get the people who actually can write a decent story.
I find, well, there's two. Now, I'm not saying they were phenomenal writers, but back in like late 90s, you had someone like Chuck Dixon. You remember Batman Nightfall, all that. He was writing Nightwing, Robin, multiple Batman titles, Birds of Prey. He was doing the Batman universe. And he was doing it well. He knew how to do like the Bat Family.
Yeah.
He hasn't written a mainstream comic in years besides a Bane miniseries a little while ago.
Yeah.
Guy, I use that as another example for Marvel, Howard Mackey.
Yeah.
Was writing 2 Spider-Man titles when there was only 2 on the go. He was writing this and like setting that era up and everything. And
didn't he do Ghost Rider too?
he did Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
He launched the Dan Ketch.
Yeah.
You don't hear from those people anymore, and they're still there.
Yeah, as far as I know, they're still alive.
Right?
Your Doug Munch I think he's still alive, isn't he?
I think so.
There's still a lot of great writers from the 80s, 90s,
Yep.
and even the 2000s. It's just like, it's like they've abandoned all their best writers in a desperate attempt to look cool with, let's get some hip young writers who can't fucking write.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's why I don't understand. How come all of a sudden these guys just fell off the face of the earth? How can someone go from writing the entire Batman franchise for 5-6 years, and it was decent, to not writing anything?
Yeah. Now we can understand with Jeff Johns, who went up the corporate ladder,
or Jim Lee drawing or something like that,
or Joe Quesada or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just like, come on, guys. What about these? Are all the people that you folks work with?
Yeah.
And are good writers. Get your Brian K. Vaughns. Go out there and get your Alan Moores, or find the new ones out there.
Yeah.
Get your Patrick Kinlan, like the guy who wrote the comic we did.
Yeah.
He's a great writer. Why DC and Marvel don't use more people like him is beyond me.
Right. I only recognize a handful of names now.
Yeah.
And someone will launch this title, and I was like, I don't even know who this is.
And some of the artwork is absolutely dreadful. It's like if they came into my class with some of these comics, I'd turn them around and send them back out and get them to redo them.
Yeah.
Because I've come across some comics, you read them, and then next thing you don't know which panel to go to next.
No, it's too artistic.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is done digital. I got nothing against digital art, but
the digital inking just takes the heart and soul out of it. It gives what we call in the art world a dead line. There's nothing better than the hand of the human drawing, because when you're inking, not only that, it's faster to ink by brush. I can ink a page of comics far faster by hand than someone who would be inking the same thing, sitting by me, inking the exact same thing. I would ink it a lot faster than they would. And it just looks better.
It does.
And it's just, now, when it comes to coloring, sure, coloring works better on the computers, and I got no problem saying that. But all the rest of it's just like, come on, for fuck's sake, man. Get back to the basics. But yeah, really, really dismal looking, really, really, just boring looking art, right?
And I don't know
all the lines look the same to me.
With the writing, I don't know if you don't have like the Marvel bullpen anymore, and you had just staff writers that are able to just write stuff. Like, I think Peter David may have been a staff writer before he broke off. I know he was in advertising or something. Blanking on the name right now. The guy that created Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, Bill Mantlo.
Mantlo could go in and out and write everything.
Yeah.
He'd write Hulk, and he'd write Alpha Flight, and he'd do like Guardians of the Galaxy, and in and out, because he was a staff writer.
Yep.
Take this over for a couple of issues, boom, done.
And a good job.
And good job, because he was dependable. And I find you're missing those type of writers, the ones that are always around, and they can fill in on a spot consistently and do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now you're almost getting people, it's like, oh, you have a degree, you're going to write this.
Yeah, in English literature and all that. But you can't write a fucking interesting story to save your life. Which, of course, now, funny enough, this dovetails into our next topic, which is the new Warriors. Well, I guess the trailer that they put out there a few weeks ago, which which I mean was universally dumped upon.
It had like 500 likes, and I think it was like 30,000 dislikes or something like this.
And not only that, people really disliked it. They really didn't just say, "Oh, I don't know if I'll buy this." They were just like, "This is horrible," right?
Well, the writer ended up, and that could have been editorial. We don't know. Editorial could have been the big issue. They made a token team.
Yeah.
Of different ethnicities and everything like this, and diversity. And people, what's it, the Comicsgate thing? People are saying diversity hurts comics. Diversity does not hurt comics.
No, not at all.
It just has to be done right.
Yeah, what hurts it is one-dimensional characters.
Right. Like when they, one of them was the non-binary character, Snowflake. Well, one, the name is, it's like, oh yeah, they're taking the name back. Yeah, but it's still... not right.
It's like taking back the name arsehole, right?
Right.
You're still an arsehole, and you might say, well, I'm arsehole. It's just like, well, everyone's going to think of you as an arsehole, right?
But when you're watching like the video and stuff, it's like, this is Snowflake, he's non-binary, and his powers are, he can create force fields, but only if it's to defend someone.
Yeah. Oh no, that's safe space.
That's safe space
or
something.
Yeah.
That was safe space, and non-binary.
The twin, yeah.
But then I was like, well, the first way you describe someone was non-binary.
Yeah.
And it would be like me going to, like, I said earlier, introducing you to a friend of mine. And goes, hi, this is my gay friend Wallace. Yeah. You would never introduce someone initially like that.
No, it's insulting to them as humans.
Now, it's not the story, but I was saying with the safe space, why wouldn't you introduce the character? It's like, this is our character, even if it is still safe space. Yeah. Or at a young age, he couldn't protect his mother from being murdered. His powers manifested where he can defend, but only when someone's around.
Yeah.
He also happens to be non-binary.
Yeah,
that's better.
Yeah, it's whether you're non-binary or binary or male, female. To me, those aren't they're not storytelling points. They're background details to your characters and all that. But these are like they push them to the front, so they're it's what it is. It's soulless committee corporate thinking.
It is.
It's Poochie.
It is. It's Poochie.
It's Poochie all the way, right?
Equivalent of Poochie.
Yeah, and I mean the screen time that was the one people were making the most fun of, talking about. He was exposed to, and this is what they say, becoming exposed to his grandfather's experimental internet gas. Now it's just like, what happened? Was his grandfather online and he cut a fart? And that is just like, I could never conceive of linking gas to the internet.
No. I
in any way,
how that would...
Where does it come from? Really, right? That got to be the stupidest of them.
But it was the screen time. Oh, it's a negative connotation, but he's taking it back. Oh, it's safe space. It's a negative connotation, but he's taking it back. Oh, it is B negative. Oh, it's a negative connotation because he's the goth, but he's taken that name back.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're all the same person.
Oh, they all look, and they even visually, they're all very similar. The palette is horrendous. The B negative character, all he is like Morbius's younger cousin who no one likes, right?
They said he got a blood transfusion from Morbius, and I was like, how the fuck did you get blood from Morbius to do a blood transfusion?
Yeah. I'm sure he volunteered, right? You just can't go to the Red Cross and ask for Morbius blood, right?
Right. But it's corporate thinking that this is cool. Oh, we're going to get this market and this market and this market. And I was like, why don't you just tell a good story?
Yeah, it's pandering at the worst. It'd be like, you can have a character. What we were talking before we went on, the best example I could think of was Detectives Inc.
Yeah.
From the early 80s. A great book by Don McGregor and first episode with art by Marshall Rogers. And the character, the woman who comes in to look for, the missing person, like in all detective stories, comes in. And now the change there was, and this was the early 80s too, she was looking for her lesbian lover.
Yeah. Now
that didn't become the whole thing about what the whole thing was. It was, I don't even think she even mentioned the term. I don't even think the term lesbian is mentioned. My lover, whatever, the person I love, whatever, and it wasn't an issue, and and you felt for her because she seemed like a real human being.
Right.
All 5 of these are empty, soulless creatures.
They're shells.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're glasses with nothing in them.
Yeah.
And they're I mean the insults and all that were on the on the YouTube video it was absolutely quite hilarious to read what people.
They were the best part of it.
Oh yeah. It was. I mean, I read down through it, and it was just like, wow. It's
this guy was bullied in high school, and now because of this, we get screen time.
Yeah,
right. We get safe space.
Yeah, and he found what was it? He found one of the guys who had knives or whatever, freaked him out or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like, my God, if a comic book character with knives freaks you out, then your problem goes a lot deeper than just the Night Thrasher, right there.
Oh no, he said I didn't read New Warriors. They were too cool for me.
Who even
who's not cool enough for a comic book?
Yeah, and who even admits that, right?
Yeah.
It's just like I'm a real dork, and I obviously comics are too cool for me, but somehow I got this job, and I'm gonna write what I think is a cool comic book series that's inclusive and all that. It's just like you can be inclusive by just writing a good goddamn story, right?
One kind of ironic thing with all this negativity with New Warriors, in the 90s, Christopher Priest, who was writing, he has some history with like Night Thrasher and stuff like this. There was a common trend that all black characters had skateboards.
Yeah.
And Night Thrasher was one of them.
Yeah.
And he did this mock concept up about a black superhero, young, and he had a skateboard. And Marvel were like, oh my God, we love this. This is perfect. And he's like, no, you're proving my point that you're not down with the times. You think like this character should have a skateboard because he's black.
Yeah.
And it's that. And it was early New Warriors with Night Thrasher. Yeah. And it's just come full circle again with Night Thrasher. It's trying to get that younger audience. Yeah. In the 90s, he needs to have a skateboard.
Yeah. It's trying to, I mean, we use stereotypes in comics, like sometimes in like background characters, the look of characters, or evil looking characters or whatever. But it's used like they use it in Hollywood in terms of the scientist from the Mideast is always Eric Avari, or the fat sheriff was always what was the guy? He's in Blood Simple. One of the characters, or Brian Dennehy was a big burly guy or whatever. So I mean, and you can use that to help, really bring forward a character and all that. But these new Warriors ones, they're stereotypical to such a degree. They're almost
offensive.
I was just about to say they're insulting, right?
They're honestly insulting to people.
Yeah.
And I can't see. I mean, I'm a straight white male, so I mean, I can't judge anything.
Yeah.
But if I were gay or non-binary or any ethnicity, and that's how you define that person straight off the bat.
Yeah, as just a color swatch.
And that's it.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. It's the old fashioned. Like you say, my friend here. This is my black friend. This is my gay friend.
Yeah. This is my gay friend Jim.
Yeah.
This is my black friend Bill.
You
wouldn't describe them like that initially.
No, you're reducing a human being to a one-word description.
Yeah.
And oh God, when you